All right, send to this now, former Joburg mayor and, of course, runner-up in the leadership race for the Democratic Alliance, Dr. Mpho Phalatse, has denied claims that she will be leaving the Democratic Alliance. It follows her loss to John Steenhuisen for the position of federal leader during the party's elective conference over the past weekend. Phalatse joins us now in studio for more on that. Good to have you once again. Thank you very much for coming on this evening. Let's start with what you immediately said after, of course, the results were announced. I'm disappointed. The Democratic Alliance really here had an opportunity ahead of 2024. Are you disappointed in yourself and how you performed, or are you disappointed in how you ran your campaign well, but your party did not respond?
I'm not disappointed in myself. I'm very proud that I put my hand up. That's the first thing. It was a big step for me to take, and it was a brave step. And I'm really proud that I did that. I'm proud of how we ran the campaign and what we managed to achieve in a very short space of time. You'll recall that I only put my hand up at the end of January. And in that short space, we managed to cover much ground. And I managed to interact and engage with a lot of delegates, a lot of people I would not have ordinarily interacted with. I learned a lot about the party. I learned a lot about its inner workings, just my experience through the campaign. So I've grown a lot as a person and as a politician through the process. And I'm proud that I allowed myself the opportunity. I'm not happy about the outcome. I would have liked a better outcome. I do believe that we've missed an opportunity as a party. However, I have accepted the outcome. We don't have much time till 2024 elections. We don't have time to lament. We need to step up and get working as a united party. And I have committed to John that I will support him. And we've got to focus on the goal, which is growing the party ahead of 2024.
Accepted the outcome. Does that mean you've spoken to the electoral officials? You've ironed out all the issues that you could have had about the system?
No, there's still a pending matter. It is an internal matter. However, I did give my express consent for them to continue with the counting and to read out the results regardless of the matter that I had raised. So I did not raise the matter in order to change the outcome materially. I just feel it's a matter of principle to iron out certain things. Yeah.
For a party that truly believes in transparency in terms of how you run things, it's pretty strange. Many people have been asking, why don't you release the results so that we know exactly how many people voted for you?
Well, I don't know. I mean, this happened last night. I think I'm still exhausted, honestly. I've not had the time to go back. I will be dealing with a lot of issues in the next few days and potentially also next week. So I've not gone back. I've been resting.
Yeah. And when you look at the outcome of that particular leadership, I mean, what comes to your mind in the country of the demographic spread that we have and what that particular leadership looks like? I mean, predominantly white with a sprinkle of blackness here and there?
I'm concerned about how the electorate is receiving our leadership. I'm concerned about the potential of that impacting on our electoral outcomes. I do hope that we will manage to come up with a plan to avert that kind of outcome. I do understand how we got to this result because the Democratic Alliance is a non-racial party. We don't work according to racial quotas. When there's an election, everybody has the right to put their hand up if they believe that they're qualified and suitable for a particular role. And all those individuals believed so, and they managed to garner the right support from the 2,000 delegates, and that's why they made it. Unfortunately, yes, there is that concern from South Africans. I do know some of them personally, very capable, people who understand. J.P. Smith is a good example. I've got a lot of experience working with him. I understand his ideology and his leaning. He understands the transformation agenda that's required. He understands our need to be relatable to the majority of South Africans, to connect with all communities. He's a white male. So I know him personally and I'm comfortable with him. I voted for him because of his capability and because I understand that he gets it. But I also know that some South Africans might not know him the way that I do, and we need to now find ways to showcase that we've got good people in our leadership, and that's how they made it in.
Yeah. Being committed to the transformation agenda is one thing. Being seen to be committed to the transformation agenda is another thing. How do you inspire confidence in South Africans to say, well, vote for a party that its leadership is going to remain predominantly white at this particular instance just because of how the party works?
You're right. We know who we are. but it's important that the electorate know who we are. And it's our responsibility to ensure that they know. And how we communicate that is a function of our leadership. I think they need to sit around the table and work it out. And it has to happen pretty urgently. We don't have time. We've got about a year to go before they go and cast their votes. And I'd like to see them cast those votes for the DA.
Would you have immediately come out as leader and declared EFF enemy number one?
No, I would not have done that.
Why?
Well, I mean, we believe differently. I think I've been very open about my ideology around these issues. But we are a party at the end of the day. We're one political party, and even if there's internal differences, we've got to rally behind one vision. I've said this before, that I've worked at the EFF in the city of Johannesburg, and we've managed to deliver services for residents. We managed to roll out mobile clinic services after they brought a motion to council, as an example, and as MMC, I implemented it, and our residents today still benefit from those mobile clinics. So I have a slightly different view, where working with other parties is concerned. I believe it's pragmatic governance, but there are people in the party who hold very strong views against it, and that is now the party line, and that's the line that the party will take.
Yeah. There are many who listened to your 5-minute there just before the voting was opened and it started, and one of the lines that probably stood out and many have commented on is this question that I will not govern with fear or invoke fear or something to that nature. I'm paraphrasing here what you're trying to say. Is that the atmosphere that is existing in the party right now? Do you feel that this current leadership is running things via that kind of attitude?
Well, it has been my experience throughout the campaign. I don't think I was aware of it before I started the campaign. I've been Joburg based, and I've not really interacted with delegates or Democrats from the rest of the country in the manner that I have during this campaign. And yes, I have come across a culture, a climate of fear, which was pretty concerning for me, and I felt a need to assure the delegates that should I become the leader, that would not be the case. I was very concerned about it, and it's something that I wanted to drive out.
Yeah. And how would you now today, for example, tell folks in Alexandra, maybe even tell folks in your own family who could have been left out of particular positions, lost a job or didn't get a job because purely of the color of their skin, to say, well, now let us not look at race when we address these issues. How do you go back to tell them that?
Based on the outcome of our elections.
Yes.
Like I said, the DA is a non-racial party, so we don't say we want 5 blacks and 5 whites in the outcome of this election. It's about competency, it's about skill, it's about experience. Yeah. And people have to go out there and...
People look at you and say, you're competent, you're experienced, you're qualified, you're a black woman.
I didn't realize you were talking about me. I thought you were talking about the rest of the leadership.
If you can't make it, what is my chance of making it?
Yeah, I should probably run a survey and ask the delegates why I didn't make it. I'm not going to speculate as to why, but what I do know is that a lot of Democrats walked up to me after the announcement of results. They begged me not to leave the party. They begged me not to give up. They asked me to put my hand up again, and I will be putting my hand up again. They were saying, we believe in you, we see you. Perhaps not this time, but definitely next time. So I believe that they believe in my leadership. I don't think it had to do with race. It may have just been, the incumbency of the incumbent might have contributed. People probably comfortable and they feel we've got a year to go to elections. They probably thought he's more ready, and they probably went with the more comfortable choice. But I'm speculating, as I say. I would probably have to run a survey to be able to speak with authority on exactly why I didn't emerge.
A call for multi-parties to come together and avoid ANC-EFF doomsday coalition. I think it's how they phrased it. Herman Mashaba has responded to it. He tweets, and his tweet, maybe a little bit of a subtweet there as well, saying, well, as long as it's going to be a coalition of equals, is the Democratic Alliance ready to have that coalition of equals?
It's a tough conversation. It's a conversation that must be had, and I saw it play out somewhat in the city of Johannesburg, where the DA had 71 seats and our smallest party had 1 seat. And all our parties in the coalition felt we should all have an equal voice, and the Democratic Alliance felt the number of seats you brought to the table matters. And I don't think there was ever consensus, and I don't think we realized there was no consensus. And that's why we saw challenges brewing throughout our tenure. I do think between now and 2024, it's important to get on the same page about what is consensus with regards to partners in a coalition where you've got a 71-seat party and a 1-seat party.
Why wouldn't you start your own party?
It does not make sense. There's too many parties. I do feel that it just leads to fragmentation. I feel that our electorate are not educated enough in how elections and how we vote impacts on stability of governments. I don't want to confuse them even further. The Democratic Alliance is a good brand. It's a brand that I'm still proud to align with, and that's why I'm not leaving. I believe that even if there may be challenges, I have a voice within the party. I've established my own voice, an independent voice. I continue to be assertive. I continue to raise issues, and I continue to drive issues, and I will continue to do so. 20% of South Africa electorate is a big number, particularly if you're dealing with wanting to remove the ANC, which might land at around 40% or less. We can't walk away from 20%. It's far too big. I think it would be a mammoth task to try and come up with an alternative strategy. We should work with what we have. And for me, it makes sense to stay in the Democratic Alliance and work with the DA, work with our leadership, and strengthen the party and make it relatable to our electorate and get their support to give us a mandate to govern.
Yeah, except for, of course, raising your hands again. I think it's in 3 years' time and 4 years' time.
Yes.
What's your immediate plan now after you've rested your voice and you're relaxed after the grueling campaigning? What are you going to do?
I actually plan on going away. I'll take some time off to go and think about what I want to do immediately. Of course, I've already pledged my support to John. We will be starting, I believe the party will be releasing a circular shortly to invite people to put their hands up for MP and MPR positions. I will definitely be doing that. I did it even in 2019. And I'll do it again this time, and that's the immediate thing. But I do think that we need to start planning towards 2024. I'm in Johannesburg. We have a footprint in the city, and they're a big part of the South African electorate, so we must use our presence in council to begin the work of speaking to our voters and educating them on the importance of voting, the importance of overcoming voter apathy, and how you don't unseat the ANC by staying away. That's a very good place to start. We need to showcase the DA difference in the city of Johannesburg. Even if we're in opposition, we need to be there for our voters and show them that we still mean business and we're still serious about governing. That work must continue. And of course, then we will hear what the leadership's plan is on our 2024 campaign, and I'll rally behind them.
Great stuff. Thanks so much for coming on. Enjoy a little bit of the rest that you're going to have.
Thank
you for coming on this evening. That is Dr. Mpho Phalatse there, of course, on the outcomes of the DA's Federal Congress that took place this past weekend.